Welcome back. In the previous lesson, we introduced the GTS OS POS system and explored the main models. In this video, we are going deeper. We will now understand how the system works as a complete business process. This is very important because before you start using the system for your operations, you must understand how everything connects from stock entry to sales to final reports. This particular video will be fully practical and we will walk through a simple real life workflow step by step. Let's begin with a simple question. How does the product move through a business? In a normal shop, the process is like this. The business creates or defines a product. The business buys the product from the supplier. The product is stored in the shop. A customer buys the product. The business check reports to see performance. So in the GTS OS POS, the same process is followed digitally. Let's break this down step by step. The first step is to create an item. Before you can sell or receive any product, the system must know that the product exists. So first, let's log into our system. Now, as indicated, the first thing we need to do is to create our product. So on the screen, you move to catalog, items, and then you click on new items right here. Now let's create a simple product. I'll enter the product name, dish soap 500 ml. Come to the category. You can add a new category by clicking on the add new category here, or I can simply select the category if it has been entered. And so let's say I pick soap and detergents as the category. All this place says the same. Now the stock and the non-stock, we will explain it as we move on into the video. You come down, you can select the supplier, but here we don't have any supplier because we are not receiving. So the price I will enter 2.50 for the wholesale, and for the retail I'm gonna do 4 cedis, 4.00. That is it. You scroll down, you don't enter anything under the branch of any of the branches that you have. I will show you how you can create the branches later on. Now when you come here, this is most important. If the product is sold in pack, in boxes, you need to come here and pick how it is sold. So let's say if this product is sold in box, if I select the box, it asks me number of products within the box. This allows the system to be able to auto calculate the price per piece within the box. So you can equally sell both in price and both in pieces. Both in box and both in pieces. But here we are only selling in pieces. And so I'll click submit. And now I've created my product. Now if I search the dish, so you see this is the product right here that we've created. Now you realize that the carton quantity and the pieces quantity are all 00. It means that we've not received the product in stock yet. Now the item is in the system, but notice something important. The stock quantity is still 0. This means the item exists, but it is not yet available for sale. The next step is to add stock into the business. This is done using the receiving model. So let's illustrate how that is done. Under operations, we will click on receivings. Once we are at the receiving side, we are going to search for our product, which is the dish soap 500 ml we just created. Now I have the product right here. We are going to enter the quantity we are buying. So you realize that the cartons and the pack boxes side is, you can't enter anything because we've indicated we are selling in pieces. Okay, so now I enter the number of pieces I'm buying from the supplier, and then I can enter the price they are selling the product to me. Now let's select the supplier from here. Now if the supplier does not exist, you can equally enter the supplier. So right now I'm going to enter a new supplier from right here. So Prime Wholesales. So you can fill the rest of the details about the supplier, which is very important. Then we save. So you see that the supplier has been selected right here. This has calculated the total for us. And then when you come down here, you can select the payment reference. So mostly the supplier will give you an invoice, right? So you enter the invoice number as the reference for the sales. And if you have receipt printer and you want to print receipts, you can select this, and then you can check out the payment method you are using to pay. And so let's say Momo. So if you are paying with Momo, after doing the Momo, you enter the reference right here. So you can enter the reference number for the Momo and the amount you paid. So here is going to be 50 cedis, and then you click finish. Now it is done. You've simply recorded and created a product, and you have added stock with this. All right, and so you can print this as evidence for the receipt, which is very simple. Now something important have happened once this is done. One, the stock for this soap have increased, so the system will now have to show us the 20 units of product or 20 pieces of product we've entered. So after adding the receiving, the item now is stored in the inventory. So let's go back and confirm if the item have truly increased. So you go back to the catalog items, and then let's search for the dish wash. So here is it, this soap 500 ml, and you see that it is 20 pieces now. Now when you click this particular section right here, the inventory count, you are able to see the movements of the received batch, and you see if you don't have a batch number on the product, the system automatically generate a batch number for you. But if you have, you can enter the batch number of the product, so that at least you are able to record including the expiring date and all that. So you can track, the system can track when products get expired and all that as well. And so this is it. We've added our first products to the system. Now, what are the key things that we observe in this particular training? The inventory is automatically updated when you receive stock, when you sell stock, and when you transfer stock. So now let's move to the sales, since we've added the product. So we are using the same product for the sales as well. So we come to operations under sales. Let's search for the dish soap that we've added, which is right here. Let's add it to the cart. So you just click on it and it's added to the cart. Now it's really simple and straightforward. If you have a customer, you can search the customer right here. But if you don't have the customer, you can simply come down, select the payment method. So here I'm going to use cash. Enter the amount the person is paying for the products. And you see, one funny thing is you could sell both in wholesale and in retail at the same time. Now I'm selling in retail, so I'll just come here and click add payment. Now the payment is added right here. So I just click on complete and the sales is done. As simple as that. Now what we observe here is that the sales is complete, the receipt is generated, and then what will happen is that the stock will have to reduce. Now if you have a point of sales printer, it's easy for you to print this receipt, which we will be looking at all those things later in the training. Now let's go back to the items and check the quantity of our product to see if it have reduced or not. So you go back to item and let's search for the same product, dish soap right here. So you realize that it have reduced from 20 to 19. This shows that the system is automatically tracking inventory during sales. Now the final step is for us to check our report and see if truly the report has been generated for the activities we've done on the system. So what we are going to do is go to finance reports, then we are going to go to the transactions right here. I'm going to go with the summary. Okay, let me go with the summary. So here, transactions right here, I click on it, and then you see you have option to select the duration for which you want to generate the report. So let's say current year. Then you can equally generate whether it's a complete sales, it's a cancel sale, return, and all that. So you are able to. But let's do everything. All right. And then you can also pick the branch for which the sales has been recorded. That's if you are an admin. But if not, always the branch will show for the person generating, depending on the permissions you've given. We've covered that in the first video. So I will just click on submit, and now you realize that all the transactions that have been done are here. And so this is the last transaction that we did, which is one quantity that we sold, and then you see the details that's right here. Okay, so you are able to see the details transactions of the things that we have sold within the shop. So as I said, you should now see the sales you just completed right here, and then the amount and the profit, everything showing as it's supposed to. What this report does is that it helps you to know how much you sell, which item are selling, the stock remaining, and who owes you. And so if I go back to the report, you realize that it have all these different type of reports that could be generated. So that was the summary report. Now, if you go to the transaction here, okay, let's do the details report so you understand the difference. So I'm generating a detailed report. So you see that with the detailed report, you could actually see the specific item that was sold. So every transaction that was done, you see the individual specific items, and you can click on this eye here to review the receipt that was generated for the particular sales that was done. And so the report actually contains a lot. So we have the summary one, which give you a summary without the items, and we have the one that you'll be able to see the specific item, which is the details report, all captured within your report side. Now let's summarize the full workflow again. First, we created an item. Second, we received stock into that item inventory. The system saw these inventory, and then we sell the items using the sales register. The system updates the stock and records the sales, and then you can finally view your report and make decision based on those reports. Let's connect this to a real business again. Imagine a supermarket. The store receives goods in the morning, customers buy items throughout the day, the manager checks sales in the evening. All these actions are handled in the GTS OS POS system through the receiving, the sales, and the report session. This is how the system supports daily transactions for businesses. Now it is your turn to perform the full workflow. So this is what you are going to do. Follow these steps. Step 1, create an item. So I've given you the details of the item. So we are creating for a biscuit, and so that is the details for the biscuit item. Once you finish creating the item, move to receiving stock under the receiving, and then receive 30 units from the supplier listed. Check inventory to confirm the stock has been updated. Now, if the supplier doesn't exist, remember to add the supplier before you move on. Let's move on to step 4. Sell some of these items you've added, which is the biscuit we just added. Sell only 2 units. After selling, kindly go to your reports and check and verify if the sales appear. Do check the transaction summary as well as the details transaction to see the difference. If you follow all these steps correctly, your item should exist. The stock should increase after receiving, the stock should reduce after sales, and the report should show the transaction. If any of these steps fail, go back and check each stage carefully. If it's a technical error, kindly take a screenshot and send it to the WhatsApp number on the screen. There are 3 main important things to remember in this particular video. Everything starts with item. That is the first step. Everything starts with items. If an item is not created, it cannot be received or sold. Secondly, receiving increase stock. So sales decrease stocks, whilst receiving increase the stock. So that is what you should put in mind. And report also reflects all activities. If something is wrong, the report will show. So check the report on every step. Now, for your assignment, perform a full workflow and document it. First, create an item, receive stock, sell the item, and check reports. Take a screenshot of each step. Excellent work. Now you understand how the GTS OS POS system works from start to finish. In the next video, I will begin working inside the system, starting with login, navigation, and how to move around the system efficiently. See you in the next video.